Entrepreneurs Channel TV, rewriting Africa's story through enterprise Amazons. We promote women in business. We showcase women in business.
Entrepreneurs Channel TV, creating a platform of expression for every woman.
I'm Reverend Mrs. Adenike Victor Tade, aka Mama Empowerment. This program is put together in order to put our own contribution in reducing unemployment among the youth especially. We look into agriculture and the new trend in agriculture, which is soilless and hydroponic, and we look at it that we can maximize our output through this method of agriculture. And that's why we put it together so that we can get new idea, we can take the new idea to our people, and our people can have interest in it and go ahead and make business from it. And as we have different facilitators, see the facilitators that they are really taking us through so that we can know what is all entails. We also have in this meeting people that we're talking about how to finance our new business. This is the first of it, and we hope to go further in getting knowledge across to people and making sure they really bring the knowledge into reality. It won't be just a seminar touch, but a practical thing that they can make best of it and get livelihood from it, which at the end reduce unemployment. That is what today's seminar is all about. Thank you.
You can key into any area of the value chain at any age. My mother is 86, but she's investing in ugu. You tell her about honey, she invests in honey. Because those are the only areas she earns her money from. You don't feed her, she feeds herself at 86. So we all in this place can do something for ourselves. Now, Kemi is an agronomist. She's also a farmer, a passionate farmer at that. And she has over 10 years experience. Look at her, she's in her 30s, but you think she's some 18-year-old girl. She's old, but she's not an old woman. Very passionate, and she currently owns her own company, and her company is called African Black Back Garden, which is focused on developing gardens, indigenous. She actually has one for us, indigenous plants, and we do. Mommy here mentioned cluster formation. Let's stop deceiving ourselves, and that's why we're not progressing. The people that have collaborated are faster than me and you because they've made progress. When you work together in groups of 10, 15, 20, you make successes in record time. It is so fast. You say I told you, try it. We also are involved in cluster formations. We have that tracker. She does that a lot. So we have that we have set up for people. So we have clients with greenhouses that you can visit if you decide to go that route. Now, if you decide that you also do not want to do the greenhouse thing, by the end of the presentation, you know whether that's the area you want to go, or you want to do the old-fashioned way that me and you know how to do farming. How best and you lead, okay? So, by the time I'm going to call her now, she's going to do the first presentation on hydroponics, and and soilless farming, and then I'll take you on after her on organic farming, and then we will round it up. I kept this particular topic for the end so that people will look forward to the end. We will now show you the entire agribusiness value chain, where all the opportunities are, and where you can key in and make money, and how to make the money. Thank you.
From the farm. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Falake Nyagiri. Last name? Yes. The nutrition. Well, like I have been introduced already, I do agric business. I've been doing it for a while. Lots of failures, many successes. What I'm teaching you is not new. Everything I'm going to say, you can find on the internet. I'm just going to point you in the right direction. If you Google hydroponics, you will see plenty information. If you Google soilless, you'll see a lot of information. Sorry. The information is readily available to you. Now, how to apply that knowledge might be a challenge. You might not be able to say, oh, so what if I'm not as knowledgeable? How can I make this work for me? Now, Mama said earlier that you can grow vegetables in your backyard if you want to eat it. But you need to be able to understand certain dynamics if you want to do it profitably. So, next slide. Now, I'm going to start by talking about modern agriculture. Most of the time, when we think of agriculture, we think of it the way our parents did it. And with the problems the world is facing today, doing agriculture the way we used to do it may not work as effectively. There are many challenges to doing agriculture the way we used to do it. One is land constraint. Two is land fragmentation. There's not enough space. If you look at these points here, I'm just going to elaborate on them individually and tell you why we are teaching soilless and hydroponics as the way forward for agribusiness. Now, the concept of modern agriculture is broader than two things. Agriculture, generally speaking, is two things. It's an art and it's a science. You need time and patience to get the right result. As an art, you can practice, you fail, you learn from your mistakes, you do it again. In another way, you learn from your mistakes. You do it over a period of time, you get better at it. As a science, you can study it, you can go to school and get a degree in Agric. It will still take time. You come out, then you start learning the art again. What they've taught you, you start putting it into practice. Oh, this does not work, you change it over. This doesn't work, you try another system. So Agric is very interesting in that way, because it would accommodate everybody based on their knowledge, and then you can grow in the business. Now, modern agriculture has these basic characteristics. One, it is space saving. For instance, if you go on the internet and read up on hydroponics, they will tell you that you can make 10 times more output in terms of yield with the same area as you would use for conventional farming systems. One, it's time saving. Two, if you grow cucumbers in the field, rain will beat it, sun will beat it, all these things will eat it, insects will eat it, and then you are fighting with the environment directly. So maybe your cucumber will reach maturity at 30 days, then half of your produce will be lost due to insects. But with hydroponics and soilless systems, you can start harvesting in 28 days. And you can elongate your harvest period over 10 weeks. I've done it before. So you can imagine if you had an hectare of cucumber in the field and somebody had one plot under hydroponics. The person will probably make more money than you and produce better quality crops than you that had 10 hectares fighting with the environment. Three is that you have to control all the resources. Water is necessary, nutrient is necessary. Now the challenge with this is that water is a scarce commodity. You think it's plenty, it's not. We are talking about climate change. It affects Agric directly. Agric leads to the greatest deforestation we know. What is happening in South America, what is happening in northern Nigeria is the challenge between agriculture, expansion, and land preservation. And we'll be butting it. The challenge with the northerners that are looking for land in Benue State is the same thing. expansion. But if we do Agric in the modern way, managing resources, we can maximize our output without having to open up new lands. The third is knowledge base. I've mentioned this earlier. You have to know what you are doing. You can't do this blindly. The third is profit oriented. The amount of investment you put into this type of agriculture, it better be making money for you in 3 years. If it's not making money for you in 3 years, please, you are not doing it right. Yes. Modern agriculture is about profit at the end of the day. It's not a hobby, it's a business. It has to be sustainable. So after the 3rd year, you broke even. How can you sustain it over the next few years? Mama said agriculture is not about, the initial concept is not about the money. In the 3rd year, you have started making money. That money must sustain the business. It's not the time to come and buy fancy car and buy house in Banana Island. No. It's the time to now take that money, put it back in the business so that that business is sustainable. And then we can leave it for our children. Next slide. Now, there are various types of agriculture. So, subsistence farming like our fathers did it, commercial farming like they've been doing it. You have the intensive and extensive system of agriculture. Intensive is the type you put everything together. You put everything together in one place. And then you feed them, and then they get big, and then you sell them off. Extensive is maybe like free range, the nomadic system of farming. You can see the problems that's what is creating in the environment today. Then you have arable farming, which is the growing of cassava, maize, beans on large scales. You have pastoral farming, which has to do with animal production, and then you have mixed farming systems, which has to do with crop and animal production. Those ones are more sustainable than monocultures and mono farming systems. Next slide. Now, the pertinent issues that surround modern agriculture are these, and it affects us directly. Climate change as a result of the resource depletion. We all know that it's getting hotter. Harmattan came and quickly left, and we were looking for it this morning. That's why I changed my outfit. I brought out the skirt and the blouse. I was going to wear skirts. I said, no, not today. So we all know that it is real. If we are deceiving ourselves, let's not deceive ourselves as farmers. Climate change is real. The way our fathers used to plant is not the same now. Harvest period of plantain has shifted. We all know plantains don't come in when they used to. Tomatoes don't come in when they used to. Yams don't come in when they used to. Yam festival last year was delayed for many months before we finally started eating. So climate change is real. It's affecting the soil, it's affecting the environment. Biodiversity is being lost. Now, I'm a big advocate for biodiversity. Why? When I started African Back Garden, I'll use that as an example. I started it because we had to change our lifestyle. My mom couldn't eat Maggi anymore. How do we now cook that it will be sweet? Food cannot be sweet. So we started researching how did our forefathers cook food, and they ate it. How nutritious was the food? All these are our African spices that we use for pepper soup. If you go and read up on the internet what they do for the body, reduce high blood pressure, helps with high blood sugar, helps with, and we have omitted that from our diet, and we just sprinkle Maggi inside our Indomie and we eat, but actually malnourished. And the only way to still have access to those things is to preserve biodiversity. So you have a farmland, you just go and you clear everything. There are many economic trees that might be there. You might have cleared up your black pepper. Black pepper is more expensive than atarudu. If you have one mundu of black pepper, it's 10,000 naira. You cannot sell atarudu like that. It's 100 naira. How much are they selling it? But it's a bit more expensive in Lagos. And you have the plant, it's a perennial, you grow your farm. Every year you just take your harvest from it. But if you do general land clearing, you have removed biodiversity. You have lost value. Just like that. You have population growth. We all know that we are not the same number in Nigeria. Our parents, my mom had 6 children. My mother-in-law has 8 children. When we tell them that we want to be 2 or 3, they are complaining. You people should. But the world cannot sustain such a population growth. Let me give an example of India. We all know India is launching rockets into space, but they have the highest poverty rate, even more than Nigeria. Because there are too many people. You have 1 billion people, even if you have the land mass to sustain them, how do you grow the food to feed them? So even if they allow Indians to born only 1 child, 1 billion people will born 1 billion people by making them. It's true. You have to get it. So let's be frank. When we have friends that say, oh, they don't want to have children, I have an American friend that says he doesn't want to have any children. He doesn't want to leave a carbon footprint on the earth. He wants to protect the environment. I laugh because me, I'm African, we are going to have plenty of children. So if people don't want to deplete your population, it's okay. But we need to check it. It's not for us to say, oh, we want to be a populous nation, and then we don't have the resources to take care of our people. Agric is one of them. And therefore, soil degradation, all these things are general issues that just affect agriculture. Next time. So now let's go into why we came. Okay. You have an idea of what we want to discuss. Soilless farming. What is soilless farming? Soilless farming is the process of us. Well, let me mention that this is in general. I like question and answer. I like feedback. I like to ask questions. Then you ask me, then I'll know if you are understanding what I'm saying. So if you have any questions, please just write them down. Bacteria will wait for you to reach fruiting. The plant will have green, small fruit on them. At the time that I looked at, in another few weeks I'll be harvesting. The plant would wilt and die. We tried several seeds and we came up with, okay, this is our best seed, and we started growing that one. If you go and try it, imagine you have an investor now, they're giving you money, you open up plant, you are growing tomatoes commercially, and your plants die. How would you pay back your money? Insurance sometimes, yes, up to a point, but it takes a whole lot. And yes, a lot of us don't do insurance, so Mama will talk about that. We don't do crop insurance, we should. Now, soilless media takes advantage of the fact that you are the one that is creating your own media. So you can create a disease-free media to grow your crops. And then you can monitor all of the aspects of the production while your crop is growing. The disadvantage may be that, okay, maybe your investment capital may be high initially in the first stage of setup. But the thing about it is that if you set up a good soilless media, your materials will last 10 years. Irrigation materials should last about 5 years. So the replacement cost is not very high. Every year we clear land now. Every year we pay laborers, we would follow the land and all that. So it's still the same system. One thing we need to understand is that if you don't keep good records of your farming venture, you'll not be able to know where your shortfalls are. So for soilless media, because of the way the farming is done, you need to keep good records. Why it is sustainable is because you are in charge of all of the aspects of production. You can say, okay, I'm going to grow tomatoes and mix them with peppers. And now Mama said the market is key. If you don't have market, please don't grow. So you go, you do your market survey. Who are my buyers? Who are my suppliers? How many are they going to buy? What quantity do they want? And then you can grow several types of things in your soil media and supply small units. Or if you have an off-taker for a large portion, you grow that in bulk. The good thing about soilless media is this: you can also create businesses in other aspects of the production system that are not directly related to you producing crop for consumers. You can use soilless media to produce crop as a middleman, seedlings, nurseries. So one thing we don't also consider is this: soilless media can be used for snail production. That's what agriculture means. A lot of the time, they tell you want to grow snails, put them on the soil. But we've seen both media in work, and we notice that our snails reach maturity faster on soilless systems than on soil system because of the same reasons I mentioned about soil earlier. So soilless system, you have them in the concrete floor, you put irrigation, you create the right environment for snails to grow. Now, some years ago, it was very popular in Ibadan during the rainy season. There's this smaller version of African snail, brown like this type. Who knows this? No, not this one, not oysters. Yes, small like this, sir. And they sell them by noodle. And it's what do you call them? Ikpere. Ikpere, yes. And they sell them in noodles. And those things grow very fast. So imagine producing that in soilless media, out of season. And you sell them to people who do cocktails, party, stick snails. You can make a lot of money.
Entrepreneurs Channel TV, creating a platform of expression for every woman.
From that. And all you need is, this room is even too big. The size of this room, make wooden benches, feed them regularly with market waste that you've sorted and cleaned. And soilless media is easier to clean out. There's less disease outbreak. You're not dealing with soil that will dry out, that part is so easy. So that's an opportunity even in soilless media that is outside of crop production in itself. So these are some of the examples. Look at this person doing soilless media in backo bags, nursery, seedling production, that's herb and seedling production, and horticulture. Most times when we say horticulture, most people think flowers, but horticulture is actually flowers, fruits, and vegetables. So you can do vegetable production, you can do fruits, tomato, pepper. Some people are growing strawberries, some people are growing cantaloupes for unique markets. And those are the things you should grow when you are doing soilless media. High value crop for specialty markets. If you do what everybody else is growing, you are going to struggle. Personal experience, I grew shoko. It was rainy season. I took it to Bodija market. The produce was what? Let me say that. The produce was what, 15,000 naira. You might pay me 2,000 naira. You can't put it back in the field. That's why I said I've had some successes and some failures. So I real. You know, I took my shopper, I took it back to the farm and fed it to my pigs. I sold my pigs for 90,000 naira. You're not serious. You have to be dynamic. When I got to the market, I had chocolate. They said this beginning boys have supplied them. No, during the dry season, they were looking for me. Mama, we want your vegetables. We were paying good price. Means if I was enjoying. That's why you should know market trend. Mama will discuss that. If you go and produce shoko and tete during the rainy season, you will fail. I'm not lying. You won't make money. But during the rainy season, switch vegetables. Maybe do ugu, do igbo, solanium. You know, bitter leaf is always in high demand. Processed bitter leaf, where you can process, you can freeze and package. Leave the general one. If you do water leaf during this dry season, you will make a lot of money. If you do water leaf during the rainy season, everybody harvests it in their backyard. Nobody will buy. So these systems allow you to produce crop out of season. So you can target markets and say, okay, I'm not going to do chocolate or whatever during the rainy season. I'm going to do strawberries, I'm going to do blueberries. I'm growing blueberries in my garden, I have passion fruits in my garden, I'm growing grapes. It hasn't fruited yet, but the plant is doing well in Lagos. Yes. You can grow anything if you put your mind to it. You just need to know what the plant needs. Give it to it and to grow. That's what this system allows you to do. Wow. Next slide. So, hydroponics. Hydroponics is strictly water. Hydro, what the name implies. Now, the challenge with this is that hydroponics is an intensive, extremely knowledge-based system. So, even if you know how to set up, and you go on the internet, and you take pipe and you join it, if you are not knowledgeable, it will not be successful. This is where trial and errors comes in. Now, this is a challenge. The farms you were mentioning that you do hydroponics in Lekki. What they do is that people walk into the farm. It's a farm, but you harvest your own produce. They wait for you there, and you go away with your products.
Yes, you pay and go.
So you harvest fresh and you pay and go. All that system, the unit cost, initial capital is very high. But because it is a knowledge-based system, it is sustainable. Now the challenge with it is this: if you start it and you are not knowledgeable, that's why it's good to have a team. Most times, I would not advise you to do hydroponics alone. When you do it as a team, the risk is shared. Find somebody who knows this aspect. For instance, plumbing. If the system blocks, if you had somebody that had an idea of plumbing among you will save money. They will come and fix it. If the pump goes bad, if somebody is an electrician, they will come and fix it. So that's why when you're doing modern agriculture, you don't do it alone. You do it with a team. You even hire consultants. Most people don't pay for knowledge. That is the challenge to us in Africa. We go and do it, we fail. They will come and meet us and say, I was doing it, it was working, but you will pay for it. But when you start with a consultant, they are able to manage your risk along the way, and then you get better results. Now, one of the basic production requirements of hydroponics is quality water. Now, the challenge with it is, like I mentioned earlier, water is a scarce commodity. So if you're not doing it right, don't do it at all. The second is that there are several types of hydroponics. There's one we call the aquaponics. Although hydroponics has different levels, there's a rudimentary level of, like aquaponics, for instance. You're doing fish farming. Someone said they were doing fish farming here. Yeah. Do you grow your own fish, or you buy wholesale, you smoke and you package and sell? And systems for integrating aquaponics. We all know that the wastewater from fish pond production is rich in nutrients. Dissolved nutrients, that's an opportunity for hydroponics. Yes. If you grow leafy greens, they love it, they drink up the water like this, your shoko will be phenomenal. You will be so green because it's a fast growing crop. In 3 weeks you're harvesting. And because you're using a lot of water during the dry season anyway, the water level will reduce, but there's still water available. You can channel it towards vegetable production during the dry season. And the air is where the nutrients is. So technology has gone places. I've not seen the farm live, but I've been on YouTube. Oh God, come and see what people are doing. Yes, there's a farm in Lagos that is doing it, but it's not it's still very small, it's experimental. But there's potential for everything. Now, aeroponics system, this is an aeroponics system. It's set up like a warehouse. The plants are just hanging in the air, they're just spraying them with nutrient-rich water. And they're eating your table in a week, 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks they have it. It's like the way we do broilers on. Broilers is 2 weeks to slaughter. Who's doing broilers for processing? 2 weeks to 5 weeks. On the feed. Oh, okay. According to the breed, I used to do poultry, commercial poultry production. The breed should eat 1 kg in 2 weeks by standard. But because of the quality of the feed, we do 5 to 6 weeks. It's still good. Too many drugs, too many antibiotics. And that's a challenge for hydroponics. Our intense demand. It's like you now, you go to the hospital, you take calcium, you take vitamin C, and they tell you to take, I took Bingo Biloba this morning, maybe that's why I'm Mappa. It's brain food. You take care of yourself every step of the way. When you're sick, you give yourself the medicine your body needs. For this system, that is the same thing. These plants are your babies. And if they cough, you will look for paracetamol for them. If they sneeze, you give them vitamin C. I will use cucumber and tomato as an example. If you go online and you check the nutrient requirement for tomatoes, if you are doing this system, you have to give them every single one. Most times, the government will give you MPK, you just go, you spread, and then you go away. And then when it starts fruiting, you start seeing signs of yellowing, there are micronutrients in plants require. Plants require calcium for structural formation. That's why when you grow tomatoes and you don't have enough calcium, it snaps. When it starts fruiting, the fruit will snap the stem. But if it gets enough calcium, it will do better. Mama is going to talk about organic agric, but I save all my eggshells and supply my garden with it. If we throw our eggshells away from today, we are wasting resources. We are wasteful, just know that. Because there's a company in Lagos, she's on Instagram, she's in Port Harcourt. She started saving eggshells to grow her plants, tomatoes. Then she started collecting all around Port Harcourt. Now she has a calcium fertilizer product that is NAFDAC approved. From from somebody's eggshell waste. And she sells to us organic farmers in Lagos, and we pay for eggshells. So I now said that the amount of egg that I'm eating in my house is plenty. Why am I throwing money away? And I'm paying money to somebody to give me the thing that I'm doing. Please, I will crush my eggshells like this, sprinkle it in my garden bed. Come and see my roses. I do a lot of horticulture, and actually, I believe horticulture is good medicine for the mind. We focus so much on what we eat, we forget that what we see is also very important. It's good for our mind. So I grow flowers. So save eggshells. Supply your plant with calcium. Tomato needs boron. Boron is a micronutrient. It's very expensive. But if you give your tomato boron, 1 hectare of tomato production that I did in Ogun State about 2 years ago gave me over 15 tons because we were giving the plant as it needs it. At fruiting, you need phosphorus. So it's not when it's fruiting, you can't spread the NPK. It will grow vegetatively. It's at fruiting, you put more rate of potash. That is when the plant needs potassium. But because we just, everybody's NPK government is giving us, you spread it in the field. That's another thing that leads to soil degradation. Salinity. All of the nitrogen, they stop giving them fertilizers in the north. That's why they are buying all our chicken droppings now in the south. And you go and beg for chicken droppings and they'll tell you it's 500 naira per bag. Something that used to be a waste. People are packaging it for sale now. You dry it, you bag it, and a man that is growing vegetables will pay for it. Yes, so if you yourself you can aggregate, you can sell to them. If you can move it up north, you can sell per bag for 1,000 north. I have a friend family in Niger State now, and they buy poultry manure from the south, and they have a supplier. That one is making money. So if you thought your father has one truck and they are not using it, start collecting poultry manure all over the place and aggregating it, drying it, bagging it. There's a lady doing it to Summer Gardens. She calls it plant chocolates. And she's selling and we are buying. It's branding and packaging. She calls it plant chocolates. Summer Gardens, Google her. Plant chocolates. She has dried the manure. She chocolate is for adults only. So the plants too eat chocolate and she's selling. So, and that's the challenge of this system. You have to meet the nutrient requirements of the plants at every point in time. So now for soilless media or hydroponics to the plants, that's what we're talking about, sheltered culture. Most of us talk about greenhouse. There's a particular brand who has worked in farming before. Worked in farming. Okay. Was the farm were they doing greenhouse production? Yeah, it's a greenhouse. What brand are you using, please?
I'm using Zengo before, but now
Zengo has issues. I'm not good. And the one they supply from Kenya, what does the fabric look like?
You mean the covering of the
net? The covering of the net, yes.
Covering. It's UV resistant.
Yes. And do you take the temperatures of your greenhouse? What's the temperature on the inside?
The way we construct the greenhouse,
yes,
both the edges are with nets and the sides are with nets.
And the net and side of the so for ventilation. So the sorry, we're learning today. The what's the grade of the nets on the side? What was the old size?
Very small. They have two brands.
Yes.
There is one with the hole is
small enough so that white fly cannot pass.
Yes.
Because white flies are very small and they enter your people who are so if you know cassava, you will know white fly. And if you know white fly, you know that if they enter your greenhouse, you're finished. So you have to keep them out. That's the idea of greenhouses. You keep out the pests, you control the environment inside. So you are taking temperature inside, you're making sure that the intensity of your sunshine inside the greenhouse is just enough for the plants to grow. Now, we mentioned this golf, why they stopped using it. I'll tell you why they stopped using this golf. When this golf came to Nigeria, we did an evaluation. And me, I'm very curious about everything new. I will go and ask questions. Don't mind me if I'm asking questions from the people that I'm supposed to be answering questions from. I like to ask questions because that's the way you learn. This golf's greenhouse. Thank God you mentioned the brand. Sorry, this thing is new. The brand greenhouse. That's a mention. Yeah. The challenge is that when they first brought greenhouses to Nigeria, they didn't do an environmental evaluation. The greenhouses works perfectly in the north. They don't have a problem with it in the north. But I will explain to you that if you plant the same types of seeds, premier seeds, well, who has grown corn before, commercial quantities of corn, for feed or for grain maize? Feed. Location. Ekiti. Ekiti is drier. If you've grown it in Ibadan or Ogun State, you will know there's a challenge in growing dried corn in Ogun State as compared to growing green maize. Green maize is the one we sell to the market women that they go and roast. That's what we mostly grow in the south. We don't grow a lot of dry grain for feed in the south. Challenge 2, humidity and sunshine. Here in the south, you have a lot of humidity. We are sweating even inside this. And we know this place is hot. It's because of humidity. The second is the intensity of the sunshine. We have a lot of cloud cover. So you cannot compare the intensity of the sunshine you have in the north, where everywhere is clear and open, to here in the south. Then the third is even temperature. They have a marked fluctuation in temperature. It's cold very early in the morning, very hot in the afternoon, but the temperature drops up to 5 degrees in the evening. We don't have that in the south. Max temperature variation will just be maybe 2 or 3 degrees. Now, if the person grows premier seeds in the sun, in the north, and they promised him 10 hectares, I promised 10 tons per hectare, and it follows the requirement of the crop, fertilize when it's supposed to fertilize, weed when it's supposed to weed, you will get 10 times more of a harvest than your 1 acre here in the south. Than your own 10, like he grows 1 acre in the north, and you grow 10 hectares in the south, you probably harvest the same quantity of maize. Just because of the environmental conditions. And that is why the greenhouse did not work initially. I don't know if they've changed their system, they've been emphasizing that their greenhouses are better now. But when they started, if you use that particular brand's greenhouse in the east, a farm I went to check for in Calabar, the man was growing albino cucumbers. On the back, the cucumbers was not albino. But because the greenhouse was filtering out the solar radiation, sun is everywhere, but there's a particular spectrum of the sunlight that is good for crop production. There's a particular spectrum that is bad. You know that from setting up the greenhouse. The spectrum that it was filtering was the one that would help the plant to photosynthesize very well. So if you grow the cucumber, it was just turning up. It wasn't getting any green. So it was giving it everything else. They were big, they were chunky, but they won't be green. And if you go to the market and somebody puts albino cucumbers on, will you buy? Nobody buys, and that's a loss. So even if you are using technology, it has to work right. That's why I talk about technology adaptation.
Good afternoon. My name is Adenike Victor. I'm a farmer, and I love agriculture. One thing we need to understand about agriculture is that agriculture is the future of this nation. Why? Before we got oil, agriculture sustained our economy. After we got oil, we became lazy. Research into agriculture collapsed. We started doing agriculture in a subsistence way that wasn't commercially viable. But with programs like this, and organizations willing to push the agricultural agenda, we can take Agric from what it is today to a viable and economically sustainable part of Nigeria, where we would grow our own food, eat our own food, and have surplus to sell to other nations. Thank you.
Milola Lamidi. Actually, I planted few of tomato at my backyard, and it came out so beautiful. And I noticed some things that anytime I want to plant, I plant so very close to my dustbin because it brings out a beautiful fruit at the end of the day. So I decided to be planting tomato because I realized that when I plant tomato, it comes out fresh, big. So I decided that anytime I want to start a business, I'll go into manure production because I can see that organic products are good, they are very good for our body. So I decided to change my mind, go into manure organic products. Thank you. And for those people at home who are watching me, it's good for women to go into farming, because there was a time I was talking to a particular well-known man. He said that what can make Nigerian rich this time is to go into farming, and that's our culture. Agbe, Aroko Bodunde. Thank you. I still remain Lamidi.